How's everybody doing? It's everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright. Here to present you with the Christopher Wright Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sorry, I've been a little bit out of the loop for a little bit of time. I just started a new job here in New York, so I'm getting my schedule and everything in order. Just got a lot going on in the city, and CRA. We got big plans coming up in the next couple of months for the CRA. I got, you guys stay tuned for that. It's my group I found, the Conservative Republican Alliance of New York. I'm going to be meeting up with other groups in the city. We got some big plans coming up to push the MAGA movement, continue moving it forward, because with Trump in office or not in office, we're still going to keep the movement going. So guys, stay tuned. We got a lot of plans, got a lot of stuff. And of course, I'm being censored on Facebook. I'm on a 30-day ban still. So those wondering on Facebook why I'm not on Facebook, they're banning me. Instagram, I'm shadow banned. YouTube, you guys know they won't monetize me and all that good stuff. So I'm going through the whole hassle, but thanks for all the support, guys. So let's go ahead and get started with everything. First thing I want to speak about is Sleepy Joe Biden and what's going on at the border with immigration. Where do I get started? This guy's doing a horrible job. As you guys know, like, he was pretty much saying when he's going to get in office, he was going to correct a lot of issues, try to correct, Trump's past issues that he felt he was making, even though Trump was on top of the border. Because you remember Trump was doing the border wall, build the wall, all that good stuff. He was running on. Then when he got in office, he's actually starting to get the wall built. He got a good percentage of it built. And he also was working with ICE, getting a lot of things done with, the ICE, movement that they have, the ICE brigade they have down there by the border. And ICE was doing a great job, man. Like, they were really doing a good job of, guarding the border situation and, arresting people who need to be arrested and, doing what they're supposed to do on the border, doing a really good job. I think Trump was handling the border situation very well. There wasn't a surge that we're seeing right now. It's because Trump was down there doing what he had to do as a president to prevent the surge. And now with Biden in there, he's just hands off. The guy, lives in his basement. He doesn't come out. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't step up to the plate. So we have nobody guarding that situation. So they know that, the people who are citizens of Mexico, they're not stupid people. They know that we got a leader that's weak in there right now, who's not strong on the border. So they immediately do a surge. And if you look at the polls coming out right now, they're doing polls right now that they are interviewing a lot of people. These are leftist news channels doing these polls. And they're asking, what do you think about how Biden's handling the border situation? And right now there's a 34% disapproval rate and 53% approval rate. And this is from leftist articles here. So even people who are Democrats who supported Biden, who don't like how Trump handled the border situation when he was president, they are totally not approving what Joe Biden is doing at the border right now. They are against 34% disapproval, 53% approval. So what does that tell you? And if there's these videos coming out, Project Veritas, I know you guys have been checking this video out by Project Veritas. If I had them, I'd be showing them off to you guys. But they're interesting videos because they're showing like a lot of videos and images of just people getting treated like, I don't know how to say it, like animals, pretty much. You got bodies, hashtag body under bridges, which you can find on Twitter, on Facebook. If you type in hashtag body under bridges, you'll see there's a lot of these immigrants who are coming across the border who are being treated. Like I said, there's a Texas, in Texas, it's a bridge there that they have these kids, women, children living underneath the bridge like they're homeless. And this is this is supposed to be the Biden administration improving the immigration. They were trying to criticize Trump, and they had, remember, everybody knows with the kids in cages and everything like that. Those videos and images they were showing trying to discredit Trump when he was president. And those images and videos were coming from previous administration, the Obama administration. That's where those videos are coming from. But they try to criticize Trump on that and put it on to Trump. And you remember the media was coming out, full force attack. He had that video with AOC at a highway on like with cages on the highway, and she was on the other side, like crying, looking like she was sad, trying to discredit the president, using false images and false videos to try to discredit him. So you remember how crazy things were when the whole border situation under Trump was happening, and Trump was actually handling the situation, coming forward and using the ICE network to get things done, to protect American citizens, to protect the border. He was doing everything focused on immigration. So that's one reason why I elected him, and a lot of people, you guys as well, did, because he was going to be focusing on immigration, which he did. So still the media try to reverse everything, try to flip everything, make everything look bad, like Trump was Trump's fault. And yet, look what's happening right now. There's videos of them on Project Veritas as well, like people like in these like little like chamber areas. I don't know what you call them, like little glass chambers. And there's 30, 40 people in here, and they're wrapped like aluminum foils, like burritos. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful or nothing like that, but I'm being honest. It's disgusting watching how the Joe Biden administration is handling the border situation. It's getting out of control. Like I said, there's been a surge, and AOC has come out. I know you guys seen the video with AOC, and she's coming out talking like, oh, this is crazy what's happening. I'm sorry, she's not saying it's crazy what's happening. She's saying that the calling it a surge is crazy. And she's saying it's calling it a surge is crazy because it's a term used by the military and white supremacists. So it's like crazy how, oh, I'm sorry, 1 second, guys. Got a little video issue here. But yeah, but she's coming out saying, oh, it's something that shouldn't be used. And hold on 1 second, I'm sorry about that. And she's coming out saying it's the term that shouldn't be used because it's a military term and it's only used by white supremacists. And it's like, no, this surge, everybody knows surge is used in a lot of different ways. You know, you got surge, electric surge. You got, you know, a surge in like numbers increasing. You got a surge in numbers like statistics, you know, so it's used in a lot of different ways, but she's just trying to flip it and make it look, you know, oh, you know, it's white supremacy. Oh, everything is trying to be flipped to white supremacy. And this is just sad because this is a real issue going on right now. And she's saying the surge is mostly kids and babies are in the surge. Like, and I'm like, no, that's not the case. If you guys have been paying attention to the immigration situation we're having down in the border, you can tell this is not just kids and women. These are 70% of them are young men, ages 24 to 36, I believe, around that time frame, the age frame. And these are, if you know what's going on, also you got gangs down from Mexico coming, like the Mexican Mafia, you got MS-13. So you got some serious issues with violence and crime coming from the border. And if they're young men mostly coming over there, who are the ones committing these crimes in these gangs for the most part? They're going to be young men. And that's not anything to do with the Hispanic community. That's any community with gangs. The people most involved are going to be young men. So these young men are coming at the border at record numbers, and they're coming into the country at record numbers illegally. And all the Democrats are caring about is, oh, the potential voters. You know, we can get them in, you know, get them amnesty, get them citizenship, and eventually we can get them as votes for us because we're losing the black community. They actually see in this last election. So they're to say, okay, we'll push the black community out, especially the heterosexual black males, which is the new white heterosexual male for the Democratic Party, which I see articles written by leftist journalists talking about this. So they're pushing the black community out and they're trying to replace them with illegal immigrants. That's the goal of the Democratic Party. And that is what's happening right now with the surge. That's why Joe Biden is hands off with it. That's why he said he was going to allow it if he became president. That's why he got people like AOC defending it. That's why he had the media not focusing on it, because this is all part of the game plan. And this is just something that, you know, anybody with logic and sense can tell. You can see it a mile away. And this is all part of the leftist agenda, the leftist narrative, and everything else. So, you know, I had to speak on the immigration issue because I felt like when the president was in office, President Trump, he focused on the immigration issue to an amazing way. Like I said, if, you know, future down the line, if MAGA candidates get in office, if Trump decides to run and becomes president again in the future, hopefully we continue building that border wall, because that is the safest bet that we have. Because if we build a border wall, then we can have proper border security. So the people coming in, we can have them fully vetted out and see who's coming in and who's coming out. I have no problem with immigrants coming to this country. America is built off of legal immigration in a lot of ways. A lot of legal immigrants throughout history, Italians, Irish, blacks, you know, the list goes on, came to this country and helped build America, make America great. It's united, we stand, divided, we fall. That means all races, all genders, all colors, all religions can come here and be successful in this country. So I have nothing wrong with immigration. But if you look at the past with immigration in this country, the immigrants who came over here legally in the past, in the 30s and the 20s and the 40s, they knew, for one, they knew English, a lot of them. For two, they loved this country. They respected America. Before they even got a chance to come here, some of them broke their back in their own country just to be ready, just in case they had opportunity to ever come to America. So when they came here, they were ready to become American citizens. Once they got their citizenship, they were proud Americans. A lot of citizens nowadays who are older immigrants in the past who were American citizens now seem like they're more patriotic for this country than a lot of these young 20-something-year-old millennials, leftists out here who like are anti-America, burning flags, all this dumb stuff. You see a lot. I recognize here in even New York especially, a lot of immigrants from around the world are here in New York. And me doing the CRA movement, the Conservative Republican Alliance, a lot of people in my group, 70% of them are, I'll say, minorities. A lot of them are immigrants, legal immigrants who are in this country, and they love this country like more than anything in this world. So I have nothing against immigration at all, but I do have a problem with people risking their lives to immigrate over to this country, because that's what's happening a lot when it's come down to the southern border. And also you got the situation going on where there's toddlers getting dropped over the border by their parents to get over this country, because they're just thinking, okay, if I can get my child over to, you know, one of these people who they call them coyotes, the people who are like transferring people over across the border illegally, who are, you know, leading it. And these people aren't always the safest people in the world. These, a lot of people are criminals and gang members and stuff like that who are participating in this. And it's videos of citizens in this country dropping their kids off over the border to deliver to these people. How unsafe is that? How dangerous is that for the young people, young children? So if the left really cared about Hispanic lives and bringing people across the border, immigrations legally and safely, then the way they're doing it is very improper. We've been hearing about COVID for the past freaking year and a half now. And you look at these low glass chambers they have these children in at the border, and there's 30, 40 people, 50 people stacked upon each other. Like I said, like they're wrapped up in burritos in a way. It's crazy looking. And you think about, and what about COVID? What about social distancing? What about, the mask and all this stuff like that? Why is this not important when it comes to the border? But you guys want to focus in on it when it's us American citizens walking through our town or our neighborhood or our city, and you guys are freaking out trying to go to a restaurant, trying to go to the bathroom, get something to eat. Then it's a panic attack. Then it's a problem. But yet people on the southern border who are immigrating to this country, who cares about that? And that's what I look at when it comes to the left. That's what I look at. So, that's why I want to speak on immigration. I want to speak on that topic. The next topic I want to move on to is, oh my goodness, I don't know where I start with this. This Lil Nas X rapper guy, like I wasn't a huge fan of speaking on this topic, because, oh man, we're getting, they said it biblically in the end times and Revelations, they speak about this. They say, that the good would be bad and bad would be good. And I remember growing up in the 90s and going to Bible study and everything like that and hearing this and listening like, yeah, how's this going to happen? Like, I don't see this happening. It kind of felt so far stretched when I was a kid. But now, 20 years later, it's right in your face, and I'm Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, and the way you guys know I like my conspiracy theories, but I do my research before I come out and talk about it. When I was younger and probably my mid-20s, I would watch, YouTube videos about Hollywood. I call it Hollyweird, as you guys know. And I'll talk about, look at the music industry and look at how in music videos, they'll try to drop all these little signs and symbols. And I'll show it to my friends who are real close friends of mine. I didn't want to show it to everybody because people didn't think I'm some crazy conspiracy theorist guy. But my close friends, I would show them these videos and say, hey, look, a lot of these people in the music industry are like doing satanic practices in their videos and they're showing you signs. And that seems so far stretched right now, like they're doing little hints barely here and there. And that was 10, 12, 15 years ago. You see all these videos and rap. And, as you guys know, even in music, rock was doing it even before rap even was invented. They had rockers who you play the song backwards, you hear certain certain messages and everything like that. But, everybody who knows the Bible, Lucifer is the angel of music and also the angel of beauty. God made him the most beautiful angel. God made him the angel of musical abilities. I forgot how many vocal cords he had, but he was created and these were his gifts. So when you see this happening in the music industry, don't be shocked that this is Satan's playground in a way. And I remember, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, it was like little hints of videos. And now with this video, it's literally blatant in your face. I mean, the video is insane. I mean, if you look at the video, it starts off where Lil Nas X, don't forget the outfit he's wearing. He's wearing like leather boots and like cut off shorts and looking like, just crazy what, things are heading. I don't recommend anybody see the video. I'm just doing it just to get the, message out there in terms of, media purposes. But it's, trust me, it's not something I'll watch on my own. I got people I listen to hip hop in the 90s who I like, who are lyrical and have a good message. But this stuff here coming out nowadays is insane. And this is a perfect example of it. But it starts off with him being seduced in the Garden of Eden, like it was like the Adam and Eve whole, image and everything like that. But he's getting seduced. And it's a devil, and the snake in the tree and everything like that. And then he writes down a stripper pole and he goes down to, HE double hockey sticks. He goes down to, down below pretty much. And he gives Satan a lap dance. So he gives Satan a lap dance. And after he gives him a lap dance, he, turns around, twists Satan's neck and puts on his devil horns after he kills him, because he twists his neck, kills Satan, and then puts on his devil horn. And he's coming out. I saw interviews with him just to see, okay, what in the world kind of point are you trying to prove with this? And he pretty much says, like, on Twitter posts and stuff like that he was escaping from overcoming fear of judgment and punishment. So he says, like, Satan's that representation of judgment and punishment. So he's saying by killing him, he's overcoming that. That was his overall message. And that to me is not what I'm sure anybody really got from watching that video. Maybe a couple people. But for the most part, that's not what I personally saw in it. I saw just a satanic video. And, from a Christian perspective, I know I'm coming from a Christian perspective, but, I can't help that. It's just, it is what it is. It's just modern day Satan worship, man. This is, and you've seen, like, I forgot the lady's name, but she's like a witch with long black hair, like Madame Grubowski or whatever her name is. You've seen her in videos with Beyonce and Jay-Z. And, she is a practicing witch. Like, she gets animal blood and paints it on the wall and puts little symbols and stuff like that. She's got YouTube videos. And in 2016 election, she was all over the place. Like, when they thought Madam Hillary was going to win, guaranteed, all that crazy stuff, she was like in a lot of stuff. and she was with a lot of celebrities, and they were like cutting cakes of human bodies and stuff like that, and these celebrity events and all this stuff like that. It was crazy how they were getting it. And you know, I think it was when Hillary became president, it went full force. And now that Biden's in office, it's coming back where it left off when Hillary was looked like she was about to become president. So now you're seeing all the satanic videos and all stuff like that. And they try to say this is edgy. This is always pushing a limit. It's art. You know, all this stuff. People are coming out and saying, you know, freedom of speech. Even Christians on the right, some of them come and say, hey, freedom of speech. To leave him, he has the right to do this. My biggest issue is this. The reason why I don't believe he has, you know, the issue I have with him doing this, and the biggest issue is the fact that he's aiming this towards children. That is the biggest issue that I'm having. You cannot tell me Lil Nas X is not trying to aim his music towards the youth, trying to change his image towards young people. And to me, it's like we are no longer letting kids be kids. When I was growing up in the 90s, we had, you know, it was, you know, boys did that, boys were doing their thing, little girls were doing their thing, jump rope with little girls, you know, patty cake, boys were outside playing basketball, playing tag, freeze tag, capture the flag, all this stuff that we were doing. It was all good. Riding my bike through the neighborhood before the internet was out. I see all my friends' bikes parked in front of somebody's house. I knew that's where they were. Went, knocked on the door. Mom came into the door, welcomed me, had cookies. Not to go into the back of my past, but I'm like, this is just normal children stuff. And kids no longer have that. Kids don't have cartoons anymore. They got like little kid shows where the kids like the responsible person in the house, and the parents are the ignorant, you know, young-minded kind of individuals who need to be taught something. And so you got that. You got these videos coming out, you know, from artists from Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, you know, Megan Thee Stallion. You saw what happened at the Grammy Awards, I'm sorry, where you had Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B like grinding on each other. And it's like, you guys want to cancel Bernstein Bears. You guys want to shut down Sesame Street. You guys want to destroy all this youthful kid stuff. I mean, I learned how to read on Bernstein Bears, so I'm sorry, I can't go against the Bernstein Bears. My mom taught me how to read. I never for a split second of my life, even as an adult, said could be racist or seen as racist. But you cancel this and you allow the Cardi B and the Megan Thee Stallion foolishness to happen on live public television for the youth to see. You allow Lil Nas X on YouTube, over 70 million views, something like that. It's out now. It's like something crazy high already. You know, so getting shown on YouTube for the youth and the children to see. That to me is absolutely insane. That is what kids should be protected against. That's, you know, I remember when I just started listening to rap music myself, my mom, she only let me listen to like Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, the Fat Boys, you know, music like that, where they were rapping, Kid and Play, you know, Chris Cross when I got a little older, you know, MC Hammer. These people were rapping, but they weren't cursing. They weren't using, you know, sexual innuendos. It was nothing like that. So she knew it was the modern music that the youth would listen to it, but she gave me something that was safe for me as a youth for my mind to digest. And now there's no longer that. It's like, where it's a kid music now. There is no kid music. They want to claim the Lil Nas X's, the Cardi B's. They're the ones for the kids. And if that's the case, look where we're heading. This is like literally we're heading down below, because this is what the video is showing with this Lil Nas X. And now he's also released a pair of shoes with the Nike brand attached, when they supposedly have, it's like they got the pentagram on the shoelace. And then they got a box that it comes in with a devil, like let's say he's fighting Jesus Christ, or holding them or yoking them up. And this is the box that it comes in. And the shoes are $1,000. And I believe I forgot how many that were shipped out. I want to say like 900 pairs were shipped out, and they all sold out in less than a minute. Less than a minute, those shoes sold out. And this is the times we're living in, people. And this, let's say, Revelation talked about this. You know, the good being bad, bad being good. You know, Bernstein Bears bad, Cardi B good. You know, Sesame Street bad. You know, Dr. Seuss bad. You know, Megan Thee Stallion grinding on Cardi B good. Like we're totally backwards on everything. So we really have to wake up, people, and especially my conservatives, my people on the right who are listening to this. Please, 600 pairs. Yeah, thank you, Thean, for letting me know. 600 pairs sold out in less than a minute. So that's insane. 600 pairs sold out in less than a minute. So all my parents out there who are on the conservative side of things, you know, you got your MAGA rappers, you got Topher, you know, you got Daniel Bryson, you know, you got some guys out here who rapping a positive, no cuss word, Republican conservative message. But, you know, there's also rappers you got to look out for who are being, you know, no cussing, nothing like that. Pay attention to what your kids are listening to. Don't just think, oh, it's just music, oh, it's harmless or whatever. We have to be on full awareness right now, Republicans, because these are the situations that like I said, I heard about this in the Bible and Revelations, these times we're living in. So we have to be full on with the armor of God right now and fighting against the enemy, because the enemy is out there, the devil's out there, and it's blatantly right now, it's in your face, as we all can see. So I just want to give people, my thoughts on that whole Lil Nas X situation. I gave my 2 cents. I said, don't, I'm not a fan of his music, not a fan of a lot of this new trap rap coming out, just promoting violence and sexual innuendos, Cardi B's, and all this stuff, like Migos and all this stuff like that. Just negative music promoting violence, sex, murder, just nothing good. And just so I'm saying, that's my 2 cents on that. Now, speaking about violence, I want to talk about this next situation that happened. I'm sure you guys heard about the DC Capitol ramming issue. There was a vehicle that ran into the barricades at the DC Capitol. And as you guys know, a while back, I was at the DC Capitol event on January 8th, and I, saw the situation and saw how the media flipped it upside down and turned it all as a terrorist act, white supremacist. When I was there was blacks, Hispanics, women, children, the whole nine there, like a typical Trump event, but they try to say it was always white supremacists only and try to switch it all to make it a big issue. So now we have another Capitol issue. And of course, they were coming out and saying, oh, I bet it's a MAGA supporter. I bet it's another white supremacist and yada, yada, QAnon and all this stuff like that. I bet it was. And then as time goes by, now we coming out and we're seeing it was a young black man. His name was Noah Green, 25 years old. He was the one behind the ramming of the barricades. And when he ran to the barricades, he got out of the vehicle and got a knife and ran after a police officer. And that's where the police officer, one police officer two were hurt, and one unfortunately lost his life. May the man rest in peace. And this is what happened and occurred. And as soon as the information came out that it was a young black man, and not only a young black man, but young black man who was pro Nation of Islam. If you look at social media, he was all Nation of Islam was all over the place, plastered all over the place. And I'm not a fan of Nation of Islam at all. I'm not a fan of, Muhammad. Islamists, the ones who support Muhammad, because Muhammad was a savage killer, rapist, murderer. If you look at who Muhammad was, he was, he made way worse than a Genghis Khan. Like, this guy was a savage to the 10th degree. And to compare him to Christ, you can see the difference between Islam, Muhammad worshipers, to Christianity. But there's people who I know, like Urban Conservative comes on my channel sometimes, who's like, he says he's an Islamist, but he's not a Muhammad version. I forgot what they call him, but he's not pro-Muhammad. And that's a good thing. And that's what I'm looking at here with the Nation of Islam as well, because they are pro-Muhammad, even though if you look at the history of Muhammad, Muhammad was not pro-black. He was a racist. He had black slaves. He did not like black people. He was even fair skinned, like not black, but like light brown skin. He didn't want people calling him brown or black. He was nothing to do with that. So this is who these people are following. The Nation of Islam is, one of the worst at it. Even when Malcolm X was a part of them, he went to Mecca and he saw that all the races were together in Mecca. When he came back, he was talking about unity. And that's one of the reasons why I feel they had him set up and killed. That's a whole different story right there. But this is the group that we're talking about. Louis Farrakhan is the head of that group. And Louis Farrakhan, to me, just comes out and says the most radical things. And as a black man, I don't support what he says. I don't agree with what he says. He, to me, is a dangerous force. And he has so many young black minds convinced on believing his narrative that he's pushing, is peddling this narrative, this anti-white narrative and all this stuff like that. One of the groups like the Black Hebrew Israelites who are pushing this anti-white narrative. And you see what occurs when people are pushing this kind of narrative. And it's just a narrative of hate. Any religion that pushes hate, this is the outcome of it. Death, murder, all this foolishness. And now you're seeing what happened with this young man. He goes to the barricades. He stabs a police officer. The media takes control of it. They try to say white supremacy, white supremacy. Now it comes out that he was a young black man, and watch the media just already going hands off with it. But give it about a week and you won't hear nothing about it. Similar to what happened with the Colorado shooter. As you guys remember, the Colorado shooter, there was 10 white people who were killed in this mass shooting, and the media was blowing it up, covering it up, making this whole big thing. And then it comes out to find out the guy was a Syrian Muslim, and all of a sudden, boom, swept under the rug. When do you hear about the Colorado shooting anymore, guys? Let me ask you guys that question. When's the last time we heard about the Colorado shooter? Yeah, exactly. So remember, just a month ago, it was every single day all over the news. It was front page news everywhere. This is getting plastered. And then when it comes out that the guy was a Syrian Muslim, then it is swept on the rug. No big deal. And that is the problem. If you guys are really about mass shooting, if you guys are really about protecting U.S. citizens, anytime it was a black person, white person, Hispanic person, Islamic person, Asian person, doesn't matter. If they were participating in mass shooting, you would put it front page news, like you genuinely cared about the people's lives being lost in this country, and that'll be your focus and that'll be your attention. But you don't do that. You don't do that because you don't really care about American lives. You don't care about gun safety and nothing like that. You don't care about none of that. You care about power and control. That's what it boils down to. So if you can take away citizens' guns, because here to go to Second Amendment stuff again. As soon as these incidents happens, when they find out who the shooter is and it's not a white male, they stop talking about the shooter and they focus on we just want the guns. We just want the guns, because it's about control, it's about power, and that's why our forefathers gave us the gun rights, in amendment, in the Constitution, and because of the fact they knew we were gonna have to protect ourselves from establishment, even if that establishment is our own corrupt government. That is why we have guns. And now as you see, they're trying to take them away. This has been done throughout history. If you look at history, not just in America, but any country that's trying to do this, even in European countries, when they take away the citizens' guns, they start using the government to take on full control of the citizens' rights. That is what's going to happen, and that's what they're trying to push. And that's why I had to talk about what's happening with the DC Capitol incident. And they're trying to, of course, blame Trump and blame QAnon, and it's just it's all fake news. It's just like, stop with this, man. It's like, if they, like I said, this is just something the TDS is real. Trump derangement syndrome is real. I'm telling people, it's like he's no longer in power, but yet anything that happens is wrong, that's bad in this country, when it comes to the border, when it comes to the Capitol incident recently happened, everything they try to relate back to Trump is somehow Trump's fault. It's nothing to do with Sleepy Joe Biden, the guy who never leaves the basement, the guy who had his first press conference that you guys know I covered the other day, and it was horrible. The guy was tripping over his own sentences, can't remember anything, can't remember names, can't remember situations, said he was in Senate for 130 years. This guy is suffering from dementia, and this guy is the president of the United States. This is our president. The guy who had more votes, by the way, than any president in American history. Don't forget that, people. This guy got more votes than any president in American history. And I don't want to go into details about how I feel about the election, how I feel about the Capitol incident, because they already suspended my account. They gave me strikes on my YouTube account when I speak on that, so I know I can't speak on that anymore. That's why I keep it censored. But hey, guys, I got my other media platforms. I am on Gab. I am on WeMe. I am on everything. I'm going to be posting all my links to all my social media platforms, because like I said, they banned me on Facebook for another 30 days. So I've been blowing up on Gab and everywhere else. I've been like, you guys cannot shut down my freedom of speech. You're going to have your main platforms, but there's other platforms out there. And that's what I'm telling other people to do as well, is the tech exodus. Get off the main platforms and go over to these smaller platforms and get your voices heard and get you out there. And if you're not putting out content, you got a voice, get out there and get your voice heard, man. You guys always know I'm about supporting people, getting out there and get their voices heard, because this is what we need right now. We need the patriots to get out there and fight, and not fight with violence and hate and like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all that. We need to, we can peacefully protest. Like I said in my last event, when we marched through Manhattan recently with my man Magnificent and RSBN, I said we need to go out here and do like Martin Luther King and peacefully protest. We can get our voices heard without violence, anything like that. And that goes a lot farther away than burning down buildings and that foolish. And that's kind of leading where I want to go next. The next topic I want to talk about is the George Floyd trial. You got the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin issue, and Derek Chauvin is the police officer that, had his knee on the back of the neck of George Floyd, and that video and everything like that. Everybody, of course, is in their grandmother's scene and everything like that. And now he's on trial right now. So I've been, keeping an eye on it. I've been like focusing 110% on it because I see how the media is just trying to take it and twist it. And I know, I don't trust the media. So I'm just going to take my point of view from it, take my angle, make my decisions, and move on. And what I'm pretty much looking at is, for one, Black Lives Matter. Where was Black Lives Matter after the 2016 election? They disappeared. You didn't see the Black Lives Matter in 2016. It came out, supposedly on Hillary's side. LeBron James came out. You can't be black and run outside and all stuff like that. So all this was going on in 2016 election, and Black Lives Matter was everywhere in sight. And then after Hillary lost and Obama and Trump became president, all of a sudden disappeared. You didn't see nothing about Black Lives Matter. You hear from Black Lives Matter. And I told people about that all the time. Like, people that would debate with me, I'm like, "Why did Black Lives Matter?" I was always joking around, especially with leftists. Like, "What happened to Black Lives Matter? They were so popular, now they're gone." And then, of course, we saw like the vagina hats coming out and all that stuff like that, and the Me Too movement, and and I believe Stormy Daniels, whatever the little names they had, the little catchphrases and all that, and Antifa started sprouting up or whatever. So all this was happening after that, but Black Lives Matter was gone. And then right at the 2020 election, Black Lives Matter sprouted back up again. And I think all these radical leftist groups who were doing the radical leftist movements I just mentioned before, they took over Black Lives Matter, along with a few black people who were just brainwashed and believing in the Black Lives Matter movement. And now that's what we're seeing all over the place. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And not to mention, they were able to raise, Black Lives Matter raised over $10.6 billion. That's how much they raised since coming back out in 2020 and doing anything with the George Floyd situation. They raised over $10.6 billion. A group founded by two Marxist lesbian black women who don't like black men, who don't like American doesn't like the Constitution, does not like America, does not like capitalism. These are people that found this group, and now this group is growing, and it's able to $10.6 billion. That's almost as bad as the Clinton Foundation when they went to Haiti and collected over $3 or $4 billion from Haiti, and you didn't see a drop included in the Haiti. This is the same type of setup. You see people using black people's name, black issues, Black Lives Matter, yada, yada, yada. They take over the group, take all this money, and where's it going? You don't see the black community improving. You don't see black violence going down anywhere. Black on black crime is still at record high. You see all these cities ran by black Democrats, most of them, Baltimore, Watts, Chicago, and they are doing terrible when it comes to crime. Crime has gotten worse and worse and worse. 72% of black children are born out of wedlock. So the black families are, the black fathers are missing still. Black crime is, blacks, it's, 13% of the nation is made of black people. And I heard a recent study that said 11% now of America is black people, but yet 52% of people in jail are blacks. You can't say that's racism. Look at the crime rate, look at committing the crimes. A lot of them are black people. This is not a coincidence. In my feeling, why it's happening, not because they're black. Oh, black people just commit crimes. It's a black thing. Black people just don't have, they have babies out of wedlock, baby mama drama, baby daddy drama. That's a black thing. No, it's not. It's fathers not being in the household. Why aren't fathers in the household? Because since 1930s on, blacks have been voting Democrat, and the Democrat Party has replaced the black father with the government. And that was their goal, even back to slavery times when they were physically removed the black father from the house so they could control the family unit. They are pushing him out the door with the government assistance programs. So, because a lot of times with the black women, if they can prove there's no man living in the house, they get more money. So black women are getting more money from the government if they can prove there's no father in the house, if there was a father there. So that's why you've seen an issue in the black community so much. That's why you've seen this crime issue. I know the root of the issue. And I say, let's go after the root of the issue. And Republicans and conservatives, the conservative way of thinking, this conservative ideology, and Republicans' policies better support the black community, better support the black father being in the household, better support the going to work and working hard and paying your bills, and lower taxes. We'll help you out. We'll give you lower taxes while you're doing this. And so that is why, one of the main reasons why I walked away from the Democrat Party, the Democrat plantation, and became a Republican, became a conservative, is because of that reason right there. And it's one of the best choices I ever made in my life. And now I'm coming out to the left and debating people on the left and schooling them, because one, I know more about the party than they do, because I was watching the CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC's, all the mainstream media fake news programs. I was watching that religiously, and I thought I was doing something. But when I found out I was wrong, I stepped away. And now I'm with the conservative side of things, on the right side of history. I debate with them and I school them because I know their own party better than they do. They're out here marching, rioting, looting, blocking roads, and they don't know what they're out there. Put a mic in their face, they can't tell you two words. At least when I was on the left, I could at least say why I felt I was out there. I might have been wrong about a lot of things. At least I had a basis of where I stood. They don't have a basis, a lot of people. They're just out here trying to clout chase, trying to get attention, trying to get views, trying to get subscribers, whatever it may be. And that is the issue that's going on if you look at the root issue in the black community. And that's why I said, let's get to the root issue. Let's really go after what's going on. And then they talk about the knee on the back, but back to George Floyd. They talk about the knee on the neck being the cause of death. Medical examiners have come out and said the cause of death, he said he had a heart attack. He had heart issues. And when he, of course, if you saw the entire video, which I did, it starts off with him, in the vehicle that he was in with other people. And even his girlfriend at the time has come out on his trial and said that they were both high at the time. And he had methamphetamine in his bloodstream. So he's more likely high on meth. And he's buggy eyed. He's freaking out. Like I said, that's why I couldn't be a police officer, man, because I look at a police officer situation sometimes and see what they got to deal with. And they're supposed to be calm and collected and reasonable with some of these crazy people high on all kinds of different drugs. And he was acting bugged out, wilding out. So, the cop, and of course, the move he used was a protocol move. So it was a training maneuver that he was taught by the police academy. And so this is not something that he some new move, some wrestling move he saw in WrestleMania and said, let me try it out and killed somebody trying to be doing something his own thing. This is a move that he was trained to do. Now, people say, oh, Chris, well, but he could have done better things and stuff like that. But my thing is, it's like, if you're high on meth acting crazy, you can't expect the police to treat you like a little baby. You're a grown man, you're an adult, and you're the one who made these choices. And now you're getting repercussions from the choices. And, now they're coming out even with the Ahmaud Arbery situation. And they're saying he has a past of faking to be a jogger after committing crimes. That's going to come out. And he was at the house before the incident happened. And then things occurred afterwards that, maybe this shouldn't occur or that should have occurred or but the thing is, these people were doing these bad things from the first place. If you don't want this to even have a situation that even comes near occurring, act like you have some sense. Like I said, I grew up, I had white friends, black friends, I have a lot of kinds of friends growing up. But when I started driving, when I dealt with the police, my dad taught me it right before I even started driving my license. He said, when you're doing the police, it's no, sir, yes, sir, no, Mr. Officer, yes, Mr. Officer. You put your hands up, hands on the steering wheel. You ask the police officer, it's okay if I go in my pocket and get my wallet to get my license? There's a step-by-step setup. And my dad taught me that. So when I dealt with the police in my life, anytime I dealt with the police, I always went through the setup and they didn't give me a hard time. When I was younger, I've had instances where the cops have told me to go, hey, man, just go home. They saw me being yes, sir, no, no, Mr. Officer, being respectful. And being near Baltimore, I'm sure they didn't get that too often. So when they got it from me as a young black man, this, coming from my mouth, they were just like, man, just go home. And I'll talk to my friends sometimes. And this is a little between you guys. I'll talk to my white friends about this. And some of them had points racked up on their license. They had 16, 17 points. They had it racked up. They had to go into court every other week. And I'll tell them, they would say, well, why don't you got so many points? I had no points on my license growing up. And they said, well, why is that with you? And I tell them, I've been pulled over this, for this, that, going a little bit over the speed limit, not having my seatbelt. But I just was respectful and they let me go. And they look at me like, I'm respectful too. Like, they never let me go. They made sure I got my points still. So I saw that and I said, if this was, a white privilege thing or something like that, why weren't they the ones not getting points and me the one with the points racked up? I just knew that wasn't the case. I never grew up in mind thinking, oh, white people got privilege over me, and because I'm black, I can never do this or do that. I never had that mind state, and I benefited from it. And not just when it came to dealing with the police, when it came to job interviews, when it came to sports, I just came in with the full goal that nobody can beat me, and I'm going to do my best. I'm like any other American. If I work hard and do what I'm supposed to do, I can get where I can achieve what I need to achieve. And when I thought like that in life, I've always benefited in life. And so I see these black athletes and celebrities coming out telling other black people that, oh no, you can't even go outside and run. You can't do this. You can't jog. You can't do this as your black person. You can't do this if you're a Hispanic or a minority. And it's like, you guys are making multi-millions. Oprah Winfrey's, LeBron James, you guys are making millions and millions of dollars. And you're telling young black youth that they can't even do the most basic things. So if anything, it's not to me like, it's like, and that to me, they're not ignorant. I think they know better. I think what it is they are egotistical. They are the ones who want the fame and the glory and the clout and the attention. And they're telling young blacks who potentially in the future could take that from them because their talent, potential talent and potential skills and abilities, they're shutting that down at an early age by telling them they can't do it. They can't do none of it. So if you can shut that young person down, you would shut down the potential of their future and what they can accomplish in the future if you shut them down as a child. And I think that's a lot of these people are doing because they want their own attention. They want their own clout, their own views and subscribers and everything like that from these celebrities. And that's why I think that's really going down. So that's my biggest issue with everything like that. So, those were the, a lot of issues I want to speak on. There's a lot going on right now, and also what I want to see with this whole George Floyd situation is how it's handled. Like, because I honestly feel, how do I feel is going to happen for what I'm seeing right now? And they got the eyewitnesses, they got video footage, they go in the whole nine. If you look at the whole situation, it looks like, George Floyd just might get off. And if not, not George Floyd, but Derek Chauvin, he just might get off. And if not get off, he just might get slapped on the wrist with not a serious charge. And I don't think it's because, oh, he's white privilege or nothing like. No, it's not that. It's just in a court, it's like you are innocent until proven guilty. And then people like, there's all these celebrities coming out and just pretty much saying this guy Derek Chauvin shouldn't even get a trial. He should be, get straight, like 100 years in prison or death penalty. It is going straight to like the worst of the worst and not even believe in a fair trial. Like, we're American, it's America. You got to get a fair trial. Hate it or love it, you deserve a fair trial. And they're just saying that because of the fact that they're just getting like the little clips from CNN and saying, okay, this little clip, we're going to run with this. He needs to go to jail. And it's like, but when you look at a fair trial and they're going through all the video footage, they're going through all the information, they're going through all the eyewitness accounts, then you look at the bigger picture and you can say, well, this guy, Derek Chauvin, and maybe you can say, oh, he could have maybe handled it physically. It's a certain way different or a different approach. But at the end of the day, if you take this in the court, the evidence is not stacked up against him. The evidence is pretty much stacked up the evidence information is in his favor. It's majority his favor. So usually in a court, when it's that way, it's either you're going to be innocent or you're going to get slapped on the wrist with a couple of charges, small charges, but not, a murder charge or a manslaughter charge or nothing like that. So, if that happens, I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the country. Because there's no one thing I can say, and I said this how I pretty much was able to kind of get by the issue with the election was I said, okay, hands off with the left. You have what you guys want. Let's see what you do with it. And I guarantee it's going to be politically, you're going to start eating your own. And that's what you can already kind of see happening. And that's why I say if this guy, Derek Chauvin, is found innocent, then you're going to see the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all these people probably out in the streets again, acting foolish. And my thing is this: how's the Democratic leadership going to handle it? How's leftist voters going to handle it? And how the media is going to handle it? How's the mainstream media going to talk about this? Are they going to try to somehow flip it on Trump somehow? Because they're going to. This is what they've been talking about for the past 4 years with, Trump this, racist, and white supremacist, yada, yada, yada. So now we got this issue where this guy's found innocent. He was a white male, and now people are acting in the streets, acting foolish, radical. We saw what Black Lives Matter and Antifa could do, burning down buildings, destroying businesses, destroying people's livelihood. So if this starts happening again, what's the media going to do? The only thing they're going to be in the corner. They're going to either have to be like, are you guys Black Lives Matter, pro-black and pro, minorities and Me Too, and you guys don't come out and be against this and report it. Excuse me. Report what and support what the Black Lives Matter Antifa are going to be doing on the streets, acting foolish. Are you going to support that because you're Black Lives Matter and say this is Black Lives Matter, destroying businesses and yada yada? Or are you guys going to be the media and report the news and saying, look what's happening in different states and different cities and different areas around the country? This is bad. This is wrong. This needs to stop. They're doing it on behalf of George Floyd, but this is not how you, protest somebody passing away or being, this issue like that. There's other ways of doing it that don't need burning down buildings and destroying people's livelihoods and killing and murdering people. There's other ways of doing it. So how is the media going to report it? I feel what the media is going to do is they're just going to be hands off with it. They're not going to focus in on it. If you found innocent, riots and looting, if it starts happening in the streets, they just won't report it. They're just going to let it happen and maybe every now and then talk about it and make it seem like it's not a big of a deal like they did when they were burning down buildings last summer because during COVID, especially here in New York. I went to events here. Remember, I went to the reopen New York rallies for Republican side. The CRA did the Turn New York Red rally during this event. When I was coming to events, one event I went to, there was like 15 people there. And they're older women in their 40s, 50s years old, most of them. And they sent like a SWAT team. It wasn't, any Republican. Of course, it was our mayor, Kami de Blasio, and the guy's a communist, but he sent like a SWAT team after us. It was like 13, 14 people in a park. And then about a week later, the George Floyd incident happened. And then Black Lives Matter went across the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's hundreds of them, 400 people, like minimum, across the whole bridge was covered with people. Some people wearing masks, some not, no social distancing whatsoever. And I said to myself, and I was helping out a lad from Barely Informed. Shout out to a lad, by the way. And I was doing some recording with him. We were working together, doing some things for each other. And I said to him, I said, man, how are they going to report this? How's the media going to do this? Like, we just got the SWAT team at the rest with 12 people at a park. How are they going to report this situation with hundreds of people all over the Brooklyn Bridge, covering it, flooding it? How are they going to cover this? And what they did is, when you see those articles that came out and said, Black Lives Matter events, COVID doesn't spread, it seems, at Black Lives Matter events. It only seems like MAGA. Something they really went to that narrative. They really try to say that narrative. If you are at a Black Lives Matter event or a leftist event, then COVID somehow, for some reason, doesn't spread that often. But at a MAGA event, it's like it's contagious. It's everybody has it. It doesn't matter if you're black, conservative, white. Everybody's just spreading. And that's why they got crazy situations here in New York City. When we go to restaurants, we got to walk in a restaurant with a mask on, but when we're eating, we had a mask off. So it's not, like I said, it's not about true safety and protection of people. It's about control and power. They're using the mask for the control and power of people, see what we are willing to and do and not do. They're using Black Lives Matter and Antifa as pawns in the chess game to physically go out there, act foolish and whatever, to demand things. They'll get funded by George Soros money, because I went to these events, these leftist events, and they were getting food from some nice Manhattan restaurants getting served to them. And I'm like, I know these freaking college students and these hipsters don't got the money to be backing, supporting this. Who's paying for this? So the money was coming from somewhere, because I've been to a lot of Trump events and we don't have no, fine 5-star restaurants giving us any food. We're coming in with our own food and we support each other. We bring our own food from home or whatever, but nothing like that. So I've been to events on the right, a lot of events on the right. I've been to a few events on the left. And for one, and I notice a lot of difference between both sides. And one of the main differences why I see it, because I think one side is being funded by a entity behind the curtain. And you know what side that is, and it's the left. So, guys, I just wanted to come out today because I'm, like I said, the Christopher Wright Show. Check me out, man. It's all over Apple. My podcast is growing. It's getting out there. I haven't been consistent as I should be, because I said I just started work. I got a lot of things in my personal life that I've been doing. So I'm caught up. I'm getting back on stage again. I got guests coming up on the show soon. It's going to, check it out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I keep forgetting to mention that, but like, subscribe, and share to my YouTube channel, The Christopher Wright Show. Please check it out, because YouTube is giving me a hard time. They're censoring me. They're trying to shut me down. They're shadow banning me on Facebook, on Instagram. People look me on Instagram, they got to type in the last letter of my name for my profile to even pop up. If you type in the first few letters, I don't pop up because they're shadow banning me. That's why I tell people the reason why it takes so long and so difficult to find me and search for me, because I'm being shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, by the Facebook algorithm, by whatever Google algorithm, whatever algorithm ran by the left. They are trying to shut me down, but I'm going to be in other channels. I'm being on Rumble. I'm freaking Gab, Weemy, whatever, man. I'm on all of it. You got the Christopher Wright Show on Gab. Come check me out, guys. And so much. And thank you guys for all the support, staying strong with me. More content coming soon. I got a lot of great guests coming soon. CRA, Conservative Republican Alliance. We're about to make some moves in New York. We're going to turn New York red. I keep talking about turning New York red. I've done my events, but now it's time to put the action behind the words and the rallies. I'm time to do the action behind that. I'm actually going to get into these Republican clubs around here in the city that I'm even a member of some of them. I'm on a committee board on some of them. I'm going to get in there and root and get the MAGA candidates from New York in office here in New York. And that's how we start. We get those MAGA candidates in there in 2022. And who knows what happens in 2024. I'm not going to say yay or nay. You saw Trump just came out and said, have hope when it comes to him running again. Like he said, the hope is there, so he did a little hint kind of thing. So I don't put nothing past Trump. He looks great. He looks like in great physical shape. He looked a little stressed out the last year dealing with the press and the media and all, his 4 years in office. He looks like he's, him and Vernon Jones came out and did a picture together. They both look like they're in good spirits. So big things are coming up in the next election. Big things coming up with the CRA, the Conservative Republican Alliance. Big things with the Christopher Wright Show. Stay tuned, everybody. And like always, God bless everybody out there listening. And God bless the United States of America. Peace out.